MSP Mike, how are you?
I'm not great as it happens. I've got all these customers to manage, and they all use Microsoft 365. And if I'm being honest, I'm struggling to keep on top of it all. I had a call last week from one of my best customers. Somebody had the mailbox hacked into. It was sending out hundreds of emails to customers and partners. The thing is, I could have sworn I created an MFA conditional access policy, but when I checked, it was in report-only mode. I felt such a fool. The thing is, all these customers are trusting me with their security. They're paying me for the service. I just feel like I'm letting them down.
That's really bad.
And the worst thing, I've got a comb over.
As you can see, can't really help you with that. But when it comes to Microsoft 365, have you considered using a tool to manage all of your clients? A tool that can give you expert security recommendations to keep your clients secure, and a tool that can save your MSP time and resource.
I didn't even know something like that existed.
Yeah, there is a tool, and it's called Inside Agent.
Is that like having an agent on the inside?
Not really, but Inside Agent are a team of Microsoft 365 experts from Yorkshire in the UK. You know, God's own country. Anyway, they've been securing Microsoft 365 tenants of all sizes for years and years. Now what they've done is put all that experience into creating this incredible tool for MSPs, just like you.
That sounds like just the thing I need.
Well, Mike, it's your lucky day because Inside Agent are today's Takeover Tuesday. Mike, what's happened to your hair?
Well, it's windy, isn't it?
Welcome to Takeover Tuesday. Takeover Tuesday features specialist companies who can offer software or services that help secure, maintain, or enhance Microsoft 365. And today, it's Inside Agent. Now, Microsoft 365 out of the box isn't very secure. It needs experts like you and me to help secure it. But with security constantly changing and a million different portals to log into, this can get tricky. And when you're an MSP, you might be managing dozens or hundreds of different Microsoft 365 tenants. When you look at it that way, you can see the problem we're facing. Now, customers pay us to secure their Microsoft 365. If we get something wrong or make a mistake, it affects our customer's business, but it also damages our reputation. Now, there are lots of products in the marketplace that offer reporting and alerting in Microsoft 365. We can pay for these products to tell us what needs fixing in our Microsoft 365 tenants. On the other side of the coin, there are other products too that offer bulk configuration for multiple Microsoft 365 tenancies. But let me introduce you to Inside Agent, which is the best of both of these worlds. Yes, we can generate sophisticated security reports within minutes, rather than the days it takes to do these things manually. But on top of that, we can actually change the settings for our Microsoft 365 tenants right from within the Inside Agent portal. So without further ado, let's take our first look at Inside Agent. I'll show you how easy it is to add a new client and to generate a security report. Let's go. So this is the Inside Agent 365 website homepage, and you can see that their mission is very clear. They want to make complex Microsoft 365 security a breeze for MSPs, managed service providers. So my question is, do they deliver on that mission? Well, let's find out. If I go to this page here, this is the page where we log in to our Inside Agent portal. And you can see sign in with Microsoft. So we sign in with our own Microsoft 365 username, password, and MFA. I'll click on there now. And I'll just fast forward the MFA. And this is the page that greets us when we log in. Now you'll notice that there's a lot of things blurred out. And the reason is, this is a live system. Yes, my MSP uses Inside Agent internally for all of our clients. That's how much we love the product. So there's a few things blurred out on this homepage, but as we move through the demo, you'll see Inside Agent in its full glory. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to add a tenant, okay? And we'll take it from there. So down the left-hand side, you can see there's Actions, Manage Tenants. So I click on there, and this is a list of all our tenants. So you can see here, we've got billable units, and that's how Inside Agent works. It's a per user, per month fee. The next bit is the license. So you can see all these are standard licenses, and we've got one there, which is one time. So what's the difference between these two? Well, a standard license is a client that you're running checks on every single day. That means Inside Agent will keep this portal up to date every single day. Whereas a one-time, it could be part of your proposal. So you might have a prospect and you might offer a Microsoft 365 assessment as part of your sales process. So you just do a one-time assessment of their Microsoft 365. Or it could be a one-time project, something like that. Now at the top of the screen, you can see that there's a couple of buttons. There's an add button, and then there's a generate client onboarding link. So these are how you add tenants to Inside Agent. I'm going to go through the add one in a moment. This one here is quite handy, generate client onboarding link. So if you don't have the global admin details, maybe it's a project or something, or the client doesn't want to give you the global admin, what you can do is you can generate a client onboarding link, and you can send that link to the client. They can click on that link, they can enter the global admin, and the tenant will be onboarded into Inside Agent, and you won't have the global admin details. So that's an option as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Add, and the first thing we've got to do is confirm that pop-ups are enabled. So I'll click on there. We then enter the name of our organization. Okay, click on Submit Data. And then it's just saying that we need to be a global admin to proceed. I've got the global admin details, so I click on I'm ready. And then it's going to ask for me to enter them, which I will. And then we click on Ready to Consent. And we're going to get asked to authenticate again. Okay. Scroll down. Accept. Save the encryption keys. Click on Understood. We're going to choose now what license we want. So for this, it's going to be continual monitoring. Click on Close. Mission complete. This customer should now be onboarded into the tenant. So I click on Continue. So there you go. Bearded 365 Guide Test has now been onboarded to Inside Agent. You can see that it's really, really simple. I'm just going to wait now for Inside Agent to go into my tenancy and do its initial assessment. I'll come back to the video shortly. So we've onboarded our tenant, and Inside Agent has gone into it and it's run all of its security checks. Now, fortunately for us, we no longer need to blur any of the screen out because this is just a test tenancy that we're looking at. So it starts with the executive summary. But what I'm going to jump to is reports and best practice. And what this gives us is the executive summary in much more detail. And you can see right at the top, it says exactly what the security report is doing. Inside Agent has gone into our tenant and done over 95 critical security checks on a range of services. Now, it's just done that in a few minutes. How long would it take you to go into a tenancy and do 95 security checks manually? I think it'd take you a long time. So it starts at the top here. We've got a review of how many users, how many blocked users, a little bit about licensing. Plus, it's going to look at our administrators. So are we using administrator accounts in the right way rather than just giving lots of people global admins? So that's a nice little feature to look at. But I'm going to scroll right down here to my first compliance check. And we're looking at Entra ID. So all the checks are laid out like this. You can see exactly what it is, a bit of a description, the date it's checked. This should update every single day because Inside Agent does its checks every single day. And then simply, are we compliant? Are we not compliant? So the first one here is, have we turned security defaults off so we can create conditional access policies? You can see here, we are compliant. That means we have. But you can also see at a glance that there's lots of areas for improvement. You can see at the moment, users can create apps, users have got the permission to create security groups. All these are not compliant. So you can see There's lots of things we need to do in our test tenancy. And then we go down to Exchange Online. We're looking at a range of different things for email security. And all these checks are best practice and how to manage Exchange Online. Again, you can see we've got a lot of things here that aren't compliant. And we go on to look at Intune, we go on to look at SharePoint Online, and we go on to look at Teams. Okay, so lots of different things. And I will drill into more of these when we start looking at these options here. But this is just the reporting function. So what I can do now, if I go back to the top, I can simply download a report. So I download this as a PDF, and I can open this report. So this is our Microsoft 365 security assessment in a PDF. This is what we can send to customers. This is what we can send to prospects. You can see it's all branded. So this is my company, my MSP. We've got our logo here, and we've got our color scheme here. How do we do that? Well, quite easy. We just go into settings, and you can see we've got custom branding. So we put our logo in there, our primary colors, plus you can upload your own cover page. So you can make it even more bespoke to your company. So we scroll down, and what it's doing, we've got some nice pages here with some cybersecurity stats for your clients and prospects. And it's just summarizing the report that we looked at in the best practice here, okay? So it's a really nice thing to do. It's about 12 pages long, and you can send that to customers. Now, if I just hop back to the portal, because there's a couple more things I want to show you in the reporting section. This one here, this is called breached accounts. Now, there's no data here. This is just a test tenancy. But this is a feature that I really like. When you onboard a new tenant inside this platform, what Inside Agent will do is go ahead and look at the Have I Been Pawned website, and it'll check all the email addresses inside of that tenancy. And if there's any breached accounts, it'll list them here. So it'll show the email address and it'll show the platform, for example, Dropbox or LinkedIn or something like that. Again, this is a really nice, quick win for you because you can take on a new client or a prospect and you can give them a ring straight away and say, did you know you've got a breached account available on Dropbox or LinkedIn? Can you change your password? We need to do something about it. Clients will love you for that. Also down here, there's some standards-based reports. Now, these are all coming soon. So Inside Agent are continually improving their platform. There's always new features coming out. So before long, we'll be able to check our Microsoft 365 tenancies against all these different standards, CIS, NIST, etc. So again, that's going to be a fantastic feature that I'm looking forward to. So with that in mind, what else can this platform do? So as you can see, it's really easy to add your clients into Inside Agent, and you can generate reports within minutes. But there's more to Inside Agent than just security reports. So let's dig into some of the other areas of the product. Let's start with Entra ID. Okay, so we've looked at reporting, but obviously securing our clients is much more important than just reporting of what's wrong. We need to actually go into our tenants and fix these issues. So I'm going to start by looking at Entra ID. You can see, explore this tenant, we've got all these sections, and I'm in Entra ID. Now again, we've got a nice overview at the top. We've got how many licensed users we've got, how many guests. And then we're talking about MFA authentication methods. So not all forms of MFA are equal. So SMS, email OTP, they're low security forms of MFA. What we should be striving towards is high security ones like FeedO2 and things like that. So we can look at this tenant and we can already see there's a bit of a problem here because we've still got email OTP enabled. So we need to strive to get all these disabled and get more of these working for our users. And then we've got the status of the legacy authentication migration. You can see here we have migrated over, which is good for us. And then we've got some user permissions. These are good because they're green. These are bad because they are orange, okay? But let's scroll down because this is where I think the product is absolutely fantastic. So you can see our Entra checks. We've been through these before. We saw those in the reporting. These checks are organized by severity. So first one, it's very high that we turn security defaults off and we have our own conditional access policies. Now we're okay there because we're compliant. But maybe if I look at one what we're not compliant with, so maybe this one here, list of authentication methods. The severity is medium, and we go across and we can see we are not compliant. Now we've got a few options here. With some of these checks, we might be okay that we're not compliant. There might be a reason why we're not compliant, okay? So rather than this keep flashing up as not compliant, what I can do is I can click on here and I can add an exception. So I can say something like this. Obviously, that's not a real exception, but I can go in there and I can add that exception. And you can see now this has changed immediately and it shows that we've got an exception in place. Okay, so I will just remove that because I want to show you something else. And we look here, look, in the actions. So we've got a few options here. We've got our little inside agent character here and it says, fix me. So what I can do is I can click on here, and if I click on proceed, that will fix this issue in my tenancy for me. So it gives us a summary of what's going to happen, and then I can simply click on proceed. And what that will do, it will go into the tenant, it's been queued, and that eventually will change to compliant. So any of these, which has got our little fix me icon next to it, we can do right from inside agent. How clever is that? When it's not got a little character next to it, so something like this spanner here, that means inside agent can't fix it for you from within the portal. But what it can do, if I click on here, it can open the Microsoft portal at the page where we need to fix it. So it's giving you a helping hand. We're not trawling through settings. Now, most people, if I just copy the link like that, most people have their tenant open in an incognito window, as I do here. So what I can do now, I've copied the link, is just paste that into there, and it's taken us to the page where we can fix our issue. So going back there, that one we were talking about, we're about unused Entra registered applications. So it gives us a helping hand. How clever is that? And we've also, if we click on this book here, we can click on that because we might be thinking, well, okay, it's okay to take us to the part in Microsoft 365 where we fix it, but once we get there, what do we do? Well, we click on this book here, look, and there's a nice little video from the nice people at Inside Agent showing you exactly what to do. So this is really Microsoft 365 security made easy. Now, remember earlier when we spoke to MSP Mike, he was convinced that he'd created an MFA conditional access policy for his customer, but he'd left it in report mode. Come on, we've all done it. Our clients should have multiple conditional access policies in place to help protect their business. But a missetting here and a checkbox not ticked here can mean that these conditional access policies aren't doing much. Don't worry though, because Inside Agent has us covered. Let's have a look at how Inside Agent can manage our conditional access policies. Okay, I'm now in the conditional access setting. Now, I don't need to tell you how important conditional access policies are. They are essential for protecting our Microsoft 365 tenancies. So how can Inside Agent help us with conditional access policies? Well, this is a list of all the conditional access policies that are set up in this tenant. So you can clearly see exactly what's set up. We can see the state of it. So I can see these two are enabled. This is report only, and all these are disabled. I can then click into any of these because we've got some advice and we've got some info. So what this does, it gives us a summary of the conditional access policy, when it was created, when it was last modified, and it just gives us a nice, easy to view summary of the policy. And it's also got some recommendations. So this one's an obvious one. This policy is in disabled state. Just make sure that this is expected, okay? So we can do a nice summary of the policies there, but it goes a little bit further than that. So what Inside Agent can also do, so I've got one here disabled, I can click on it and I can update the policies right from within the portal. So at the moment this is disabled, I can set it to enable, I can disable, I can update these right within the portal. I love that. I think it's fantastic. I can see a time where as MSPs, our technicians, won't be inside of portals all day, won't be inside of Microsoft 365 portals all day. They'll be just using tools like this all day long. I think it's more secure, and I think it's a really nice way to work. But it does a lot more than that as well. So there's our existing policies. But if we scroll down, again, we are using the experience and the knowledge of the guys at Inside Agent. These are the recommended policies for our tenancy. Okay, policy name, exactly what they do. And guess what we can do? We can click them, or we can click them all if I want, and I can deploy them if I want. What will happen? It will deploy all these policies into the tenancy in report only, okay? So it won't switch them on, it will just deploy them. So again, if you're taking on a new customer and they don't have conditional access policies, or they don't have conditional access policies that are suitable, then you can quickly get that customer protected. Next up, email security. Big thing. Stats show that over 90% of all cyber attacks originate from email. But managing email security for our clients can be quite tricky. Some of them have multiple domains, so we need to make sure that they've all got SPF, DKIM, and DMARC set up for all of the domains. Plus, we need to make sure that the Defender for Office 365 is set up and configured correctly. And what's the most common thing a cybercriminal does when they compromise a mailbox? They start setting up all these forwards and these rules. How do you monitor these rules for your clients? You could look at each mailbox individually to see if it had any rules set up, or you could use Inside Agent. Let's have a look at how Inside Agent manages our email security. So on to email security and Exchange Online. This is the section here. Again, we get a nice overview of where we're at. So we look at domain management. You can see I've just got one domain in here. It will list all the domains. And over here is quite good. We need all these to be green. And at the moment, there isn't. So there's a big drive at the moment for DKIM and DMARC just to secure clients' emails that bit better. So I can see here, the auto discover's good, that's in green, but we haven't got a DKIM or a DMARC. The exchange means the MX records are pointing directly at Exchange Online, so we're not using any third parties. SPF is in place. So you can see all the domains and any work you need to do at a glance. We've also got some risky shared mailboxes. I've got none here, but they will be listed, and that's just shared mailboxes shouldn't be enabled for external login. So if you've got any, they will be listed here. Mailbox audit dashboard. And then we've got the business email compromise protection. So this focuses on Defender for Microsoft 365. So if you're using a third party, it's probably not going to show here. This is focusing on Defender for 365. You can see here, there's quite a bit of work here. All these things should be enabled and in place. And you can see in this tenancy, they are not. Okay. Let's scroll down a little bit more. A review of the user protection. All these should be yeses, and at the moment they're not, so we've got some work to do there. These are just a report only. When it comes to the compliance, it's all below there. Now, I mentioned earlier about suspicious inbox rules. When a mailbox is compromised by a cyber criminal, what they usually do is set up various inbox rules. Now, you can just come into the tenant and you can see exactly if there's any rules in place on any mailboxes. Again, it's all at a glance. You're not trawling through different mailboxes in the Exchange portal. And then the familiar compliance. So you can see, again, all these are high. It's exactly the same as the Entra ID. We've got some things that Inside Agent can go in and fix for us, and we've got some things that we need to fix ourselves. So that's the Exchange Online protection within Inside Agent. Now, as I've said previously, my MSP uses Inside Agent, and we absolutely love it. So now let's talk about the next section of the product, and that is the licensing section. Now, wouldn't it be great if we could see a report on our customers' licensing, but more importantly, how much money they were wasting each month on licensing that wasn't needed? True story. We onboarded a customer recently and we put them straight into Inside Agent. This licensing report told us within minutes that they were wasting £1,000 every month on licensing. A quick call to the MD to tell him, and suddenly, we're the best MSP in the world. Okay, we're now talking about licensing. This, I think, is really good and customers love it. you can see what we're overspending. We can see the potential savings, okay? So this is just a small test tenant, but you can see the monthly cost. We've got the active licenses, the inactive licenses. Well, we've got 14.5% of wasted licenses. As I've just explained previously, we've onboarded some new customers, and that has been large amounts of money. I'll tell you what, when you ring the FD and you tell them that they're wasting all this money, they do quite like you. So that's a really nice feature. Just some other things to show you before we wrap up, which I think is really good as well. We can manage all our users within Inside Agent. So this thing where we have our text just working out of Inside Agent, well, that is true. We can do that. So firstly, we've got our users here. It tells us the sign-in is enabled. It tells us the authentication methods and the licenses that they have. If a new user starts, I can simply click on Add a User. I can choose the license, add them to groups, choose the password for us, and we can create that user right from Inside Agent. At a glance, we can also do some kind of reporting. So these users have never logged in, but they've got these sign-ins enabled. These users haven't logged in for more than 90 days, sign-ins enabled. So again, we can be proactive with the security of our clients. So we've covered new users. What about users who are leaving the business? Okay, well, we can do that as well. So Fred Finance might be leaving the business. We can block him, we can revoke the sign-in, we can re-register MFAs, but we've also got this nice little feature here, which is the offboard. So I can offboard Fred, click on continue, and it will do all of these in this order. So it will disable the account, revoke the sessions, convert to a shared mailbox where I can also then assign delegates, and it'll remove all the Microsoft licenses. Again, with just a couple of clicks, it's saving time, okay? And scrolling down, we've got some high-risk admin accounts. I think it's because this one has an email enabled on it. Again, good information. We might not notice that if it wasn't listed here. We've got users without MFA enabled, okay? So again, we can secure our users right from within Inside Agent. Other sections, so we've got Teams, which just lists all the compliance policies. Again, normal ways to fix them. We've got Microsoft Defender as well. It links with Inside Agent, so any vulnerabilities on our devices, it would show here. We've got Intune, again with the familiar compliance and the checks. And then we've got an accelerators, which is quite good. So rather than going through each compliance check within each section, this lists them here, okay? So what we can do them really quickly, okay? So I can go through all of these, check them all, deploy, and that'll deploy them really quickly. So again, the guys at Inside Agent just want to save our time, which is really good. So that's Inside Agent. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that the Inside Agent tool is fantastic. Now, the idea behind Inside Agent is that you get it on all of your customer tenants, so you can see real value and you can provide real value to your customers. Now, Inside Agent works at a per user per month price. So the bigger the customer, the more you pay. But the more seats that you bring on board, the more cost reductions you can get. Now, I'll put a link below this video on how you can get in touch with Inside Agent, get a demo of your own, and get started. I hope you've enjoyed this Takeover Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you again soon.